Welcome to Bragg Radio, leading the world to be rich and generous. For the next hour, best-selling real estate investing author Larry Goins and co-host Kandas will help show you the many ways real estate creates the ideal investment. Whether you want to flip houses or become a passive investor making double-digit returns while others do all the work, you'll learn how on Bragg Radio, leading the world to be rich and generous. Here are your hosts, Larry and Kandas.
Hola.
How you doing?
I'm excellent. How are you doing?
Good.
Good to see you.
Good.
Good to see you on this
to you.
weekend afternoon, evening, day, morning, night, whenever it is. It's dark. There's no windows in here.
I can't tell what time it is in this little room.
I can't tell what time it is. We don't need
It's
to
not
know.
important. TJ says doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's all good. It's all good. So welcome to Bragg Radio for the next hour-ish. We're going to be talking about how to be rich and generous through real estate investing.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Of the time.
And we're going to teach you, how to wholesale houses, how to fix and flip houses, although I don't like fix and flips. I hate rehabs.
You're digressing.
Anyway, thank you. So, we can teach you how to make passive income with real estate, whatever. We're right here in the Charlotte market area, although I know we have people listening from all over the country and around the world, the U.S., Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, China, Israel, the Philippines, Ireland, Chile, and Denmark so far on the Bragg Radio Network.
That's a lot of places.
Can you tell I've said it a smidge?
A few, yeah.
A few times.
Sounds a little.
That's good. But we're out, Kandas. We're out there.
We're out there.
We're out there.
We got a few people listening.
We're on the edge.
We got a few people listening, but
It's slippery on the edge.
my mama's not one of them.
It's slippery on the edge.
We got a few people listening, but my mama doesn't listen.
I'm not
to the
surprised.
show. Is that not sad?
Well, here's my opinion about that. You don't listen to your mama. Why would she listen to you?
Hey now. Hey now. Hey now.
Hey, Teresa. Thanks for giving me that line. That was a good one.
We're going to move right along because this is not going in my favor. So we're gonna move.
What are we going to talk about? We had an event a few weeks ago, and I know last week we did some questions and stuff. And
I think we should keep going through some questions. No, you get sidetracked and you go detailed on the answers, which is good.
Cool thing. Here's
good.
the cool thing about the questions. If one person asks the question, chances are there's many other people that have the exact same question.
Well, yeah, I would think
some of these questions go deep, too.
Some of them do go deep, and some of them are a little, some of them aren't. Some of them are, kind of 30,000-foot view, which is fine. We can do both. We can go detailed explanations, and we can stay real light. But if you guys have any questions that come up from the questions that we ask or the answers that we use to answer the original questions, just send them into info@braggradio.com. And we'll get yours taken care of, too.
One of the things I did want to mention before you ask the question, if you don't mind, I see a disgusted look on your face now because I jumped in. But one of the things that was really cool about our event is we give out certificates for people who done their first deal and stuff. And it just blew me away at some of our successful students and how they're being generous. Wasn't that awesome?
I love that. And what I really like is when we have more braggers or people that get their I.D.E.A.L certificates at our events than people who have done their first deal. First deals are important. I totally agree with that. I totally get it. Doing 5 deals is important. 50 deals is important. But hearing the stories that go along with the I.D.E.A.L certificates is one of my favorite things.
There were people there at our event, and we had them talk a little bit about what they've done. And,
we bring them up. We bring them up in front.
We do bring them up in front. We give them a certificate, an I.D.E.A.L certificate, and which is really cool. And some of the people that we help them do real estate deals. They go out and do deals. One person gave $6,000 to help start a school. And now they've got a school, they've got 120 kids, and that one donation sparked a beginning of a school, and now they have 120 students, and that's in Uganda.
I know.
That's in Uganda. And there's people doing prison ministries, and there's people doing ministries to help youth, young life.
I know.
There's people.
It's crazy.
A lot of stuff. It blew me away. There were people in that room crying because of all the different people that are being blessed by our students. And that was just awesome. I love it. Guys, let me tell you something. Money is good, okay? But money can't do everything, okay? Money just gives you the freedom to spend your time the way you want to. So go out there and become successful, make a lot of money, but give a lot away and help a lot of people too.
Yeah, definitely. So when I'm looking at these questions, I was gonna try to find some that fit into like braggers, but I don't see any right now. So I'm just gonna kind of go the way that I written them down or had Landon write them down for me.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, this is one. I know last week we talked about banks getting BPOs. So you could get one of those too. This question is, what's the difference between a BPO and a CMA?
Okay, first of all, I probably need to explain what is a BPO and a CMA. A BPO stands for Broker Price Opinion, done by a real estate agent. A CMA stands for Comparative Market Analysis, okay? Now, whenever a bank forecloses on a property, the bank hires what's called an asset manager. The asset manager then hires an agent to sell that property for them, and they're representing the bank because the bank doesn't have time to do all that, okay? So they hire what's called an asset manager. Now, when the asset manager hires an agent, the agent goes out and does what's called a BPO, Broker Price Opinion, okay? It's basically, what will this property sell for as is? Now, they do sometimes include, if they fix it up, what will it sell for? But for the most part, what's the value of this property as is right now, as it sits, okay, in the current condition it's in? And, pretty much every REO, real estate owned, bank owned property, foreclosure, they're going to need some work. Am I right?
Yeah, I would think so. The ones that I've seen need something.
They're going to need
paint,
something.
carpet at a minimum. Yeah.
The worser neighborhood it's in, the more work it's going to need, right? Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. So broker price opinion is what the asset manager gets when they're trying to determine, what they're going to list the property with the agent for. Now, a CMA, what a CMA is it basically will give you an idea of what you can sell the property for once you fix it up, okay? And it's done by an agent as well. And the agent can go out there and look at it. It's basically what they're going to do for a listing appointment. If you tell them you're going to buy a property, fix it up, and sell it, please tell me what I could sell it for. They're going to do a CMA based on all the work being completed, okay? And that's kind of the way that works. So banks use BPOs and flippers use CMAs. Does that make sense?
It does. Now, I've got a question in addition to that. Whenever you're looking at or talking to the realtor and you're requesting a CMA, I know we like to know, what can I sell this for, as fast as possible? Like if I want to sell this quick. So is that an additional question that you make sure you ask the realtor? I do when I'm talking to them. I mean, can you give me a CMA on this property? But I want to sell it quick. I always add that in. Like, I don't want it to sit on the market. What's going to price me in that range to get a lot of attention really quickly?
Kandas, that's a really, really good point. A CMA might come in and say that the house is worth $100,000. But if you want to sell it quick, you should probably put it on the market for $89,900.
Yeah.
Or $94,900 or something like that.
And the realtor should be able to tell you that. Like, what are properties moving in that area for, like, really quickly? Because you don't want it to sit on the market.
No. And you want to talk to an agent that already has properties for sale in the market or in the area. Does that make sense?
It does. Now, do you want to do that? I like to do that when I'm looking at the BPO. And we might have to extend this to the next segment. But I like to look at that when I'm getting the BPO as well from the realtor or from the agent, because I want to know if anything's going to have to be done to the property, what is going to have to be done. Is it a granite countertop type neighborhood? Is it a ceramic tile type neighborhood? Or is it a vinyl floor with some type of a laminate on the cabinets? Is it brand new cabinets, or can they be painted wood? Stuff like that a realtor's going to be able to give you for the area if they already have houses in that neighborhood and they're familiar with that market.
That's absolutely true. Absolutely true. And that is a really good point, because there's ways to fix up the house, because you don't want to have the nicest house in the neighborhood, but you want to have the nicest house in that price range Okay? Give Macy a call, 877-LARRY-GO. That's 877-LARRY-GO. Ask her for free copies of my books, information on our upcoming training events, how to do deals in your IRA, all that good stuff. Or send Kandas an email direct, info@bragradio.com. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Brag Radio, investing to be rich and generous.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Where we teach people how to do investing and then we teach them to go out and be generous with the money. We have a lot of charities we've been working with lately, right?
We have.
Purple Heart Homes.
Veterans Path Up.
Veterans Path Up. Those
I'm
are
working
both
on a
veteran organizations.
Yeah, I've got a surprise coming to our office from Veterans Path Up. We did a little something with them, with Ken Lacey over there. He's the founder for that organization. They're local here in Charlotte, and they've actually got a few national chapters now starting to pop up. He's really starting to expand that organization, which is great for him and great for the veterans that they're able to help and all the ones that have submitted applications to be helped. So I'm really excited for them. But when we saw him in Jackson a few weeks ago, I talked to him about a surprise for our office that will, one, give something to our guys, but then two, help support Veterans Path Up as well. So I'm excited for that to come in.
That is great. That is great. VeteransPathUp.org. VeteransPathUp.org. And if you are a veteran or you know of a veteran that needs help with housing, then please contact them, right?
Yeah. They do more than just put veterans into housing. They actually help them with establishing credit or reestablishing credit and things like that to keep them in the house that they're able to put them in for. And they'll do, I know that they've gone in and I don't know that they've done any ground up builds, but I know that they've done a lot of house rehabs for veterans and then put them in those houses. So just making sure that we can get as many of our veterans off the streets as possible. It's a good mission. I like the company a lot. And Ken Lacey is awesome. He is a great person.
Great. It is a nonprofit. Mm-hmm. All your donations are tax deductible.
It sure is. And then Purple Heart Homes, I'm waiting on some information back on them. We're going to do, I don't know if you even know this yet, but we're going to do a volunteer day with them where everybody in our office is going to go over and work on a build with them or on a rehab with them. And what their mission is to do upfits on housing or go in and completely remodel a house to be sufficient for disability access.
Purple Heart Homes, please don't give Kandas any tools that plug in to an outlet. Please.
I'll be fine with landscaping, okay? I'm good outside the house with flowers and mulch and stuff like that.
There you go. Just give her a wheelbarrow full of plants and a bag of potting soil.
And let me go.
And say, go out in the backyard, in the corner.
Stop.
In the back in the dark.
Stop. You're not nice. Anyway, those are two great things.
No power tools for you.
Those are two great things that we've got going on right now that I'm really excited about. But on the heels of what we were talking about in the last segment with some questions from the 3-day event, another one that I've got is kind of along the due diligence line, and it is asking, do you need an appraisal? If so, are there different kinds? And what about inspections?
Well, when we buy homes, okay, well, first of all, let me back up a little bit. When the average person buys a home, okay, they're buying a home to live in it, okay, they're typically going to go get a mortgage at somewhere like Bank of America or Wells Fargo or a mortgage company. And so they're going to go get a mortgage. Now, that mortgage company is going to require an appraisal, okay? Because the mortgage lender wants to make sure that their security for the loan is valued enough to make it worth them making the loan, because they'll have a loan amount of like up to 70%, 80%, 90%, 95%. You know, if it's an FHA loan, it might be 97%. Okay, and veterans can actually get 100% financing, right?
Right.
And the seller even pays the closing costs, so a veteran can get in for no money down if you're a veteran and can qualify for a VA loan. So they get an appraisal. And actually, most owner-occupied buyers, meaning buyers that are buying a house through an agent or whatever and are getting a mortgage, they're going to also get what's called a home inspection. Now, an appraisal is going to cost you probably $300 to $400. Home inspection, $200 to $300, something like that. But the home inspector's job is safety, okay? It's to find safety issues. Like if there's a crack in the sidewalk and it's raised up and it's created a trip hazard, they're going to make a note of it. If they're going to check all the outlets. If there's a ground default that's not plugged in correctly or wired correctly,
that could cause a fire or something.
Yeah, they're going to make a note of that, okay? Yeah. If there's a leak in the plumbing, if there's moisture under the house, all that stuff that could cause mold, they're going to make note of that.
How about in the roof too?
And in the roof, they're going to look for leaks.
In the attic spaces and things.
Yeah, they're going to look for all that stuff. And they're going to talk about the condition of the shingles, how old it is, and if it needs replaced, or about what the approximate life of the roof is left. Mm-hmm. And if there's one or two layers, if you can put a new layer on it, or you have to tear off both layers to redo it. So there's just so many things out there that an inspector is going to look at. And I will tell you this. I have never, ever, ever, and I've been doing this over 30 years, I've never, ever, 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 ever seen an inspection that didn't require some work to be done, okay?
They're very, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but it's kind of nitpicky. If you're buying a home, the way that I look at inspections is if you're going to buy a home and you're going to live in it, I would want an inspection.
Get one. It's also a good negotiating tool.
Right, yeah, because if it comes back and it says, oh, the lifespan of your roof it's only got 3 to 5 years left, and it's not even going to be a single shingle replacement, you're going to have to tear it all the way down and replace it. That's something that you could use as a bargaining chip or a negotiation tip. Look, I'm going to have to replace this in 3 to 5 years. We need to come off the price some, anything like that. So I would say if you're buying a house to live in it, you should get an inspection.
And that's another reason that I personally, as an investor, do not like to do fix and flips. Because when I do fix and flip, like you see on the TV shows, when you buy a property, you fix it up, you put it on the MLS, and here along comes a retail buyer. They're going to get a mortgage. They're going to get an appraisal. They're going to get a home inspection. And all this stuff, the house appraised for $2,000 less. Well, you can either lower the price or they can pay more. Yep. And they're not going to pay more, I can tell you that. And when the home inspection comes back, all the stuff that they find is the homeowner's going to come back and say, hey, it looks like $5,000 worth of work.
Yeah.
So I need you to reduce the price by $5,000. So in my opinion, if you're going to do fix and flips, you might as well go ahead and get your own home inspection done, okay? Mm-hmm. You might as well, if you're going to do fix and flips, you may as well go ahead and get your own home inspection done.
That's very true, yeah, and get ahead of the game.
Yeah, get ahead of the game, and then also go ahead and fix any repairs that's going to come back on it, and then have them come back and do an update. So then any potential buyer, you can give them that home inspection right there.
The second one.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could show them the two, like we've had 2 home inspections done. This is what they said needed to be done. This is what I've done for you.
Or a follow-up letter. So this is kind of where
a follow-up letter would work too. Would, yeah.
That's exactly right. But to answer that question, I do not get appraisals or home inspections.
No, not on any property. We used to get appraisals, but we don't do either one now.
I do either, if I'm either wholesaling it or selling it with owner financing, where I'm financing it for the buyer, or if I am doing a lease option on the property to rent it out as a lease option for cash flow, which is basically like a homeowner in training. If I'm doing that, I don't need an inspection. I don't need an appraisal. My buyer doesn't need an inspection. They don't need an appraisal, okay? Because they're going to my buyer, if I'm wholesaling it, they're going to either fix it and flip it, or fix it and rent it out, or fix it and do a lease option or sell or finance it, okay? So there's a lot of different things that they can do with it. And if I'm doing a lease option, my lease option tenant doesn't care. My owner financing tenant doesn't care if I am owner financing the house. Does that make sense?
Right, yeah. If it's not required by the bank, it's more money they can save.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. So
hopefully that helped. It's kind of a long-winded answer for do we get one or not. Short answer is no, but there are circumstances that could help you out to get ahead of the game.
Well, we don't. But there's also, like in our books, we have a checklist of what you do for your due diligence, okay? And home inspection and appraisal is not part of it, but you can get a free copy of that book by calling Macy right now.
Yeah, 877-LARRY-GO. 877-LARRY-GO is Macy's number. She can get you set up with the digital or the physical investor's kit, get you scheduled, and let you know the dates for our upcoming 3-day training events. She could also give you just some information about our company if you wanted to know any of that. Schedule an office tour for you to come in and check us out. She's got several different things that she could answer for you, or you could send an email to info@bragradio.com. Also, if this is maybe your first show listening to us and you want to check out some of the other ones that we've done, bragradio.com has all the show archives. We're also on iTunes. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Brag Radio. This is Kandas here with Larry.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, yes, we're live. We're on air now.
I was just
Step
thinking
up
about
to the
that
mic.
Van Halen song. That's the one where he uses like a cordless drill on the guitar, right? Yeah. You hear that at the beginning?
I don't know.
That sounds kind of like a cat, but
A dying one, yeah, like it's been hit by a car. Anyway, so we're going through some questions. This next one is going to be a little bit deeper. Right, we told you guys at the beginning of the show, some of them are kind of high level, some of them are a little deeper. This is going to be one that's a little deeper, but I think it'll hit some people or may help some people that are already doing deals. So I'm going to go with it anyway.
Are you going to be able to stump me?
No, I don't think this is going to stump you.
Oh, okay.
Because this is something that we don't do it, but we definitely know about trust. So, and it's on the trust factor. Can you sell a property in a trust by changing the beneficiary only?
Oh, okay. So this is going to require a little bit of explaining at first.
Explain it, Lucy. Explain it.
I'm going to have to do a little bit of explaining first. So, first of all, what is a trust? A trust is a way to hold a property. A trust provides anonymity, meaning they can't find you. If you're wanting to buy a property without somebody knowing who owns it, you put the property in a trust. For example, the address of the property with the word trust at the end of it.
Now, this does not give you the right to be unethical or immoral or devious with your investments.
That's
Buying
true.
in trust does not, it allows some anonymity, but it does not give you the right, and we won't ever promote the right for you to be devious in any way when it comes to real estate investing.
That's true. That is
Just
true.
my little soapbox there,
But
interjected.
a trust is a really good tool. For example.
Yeah, people use them all the time.
For example, my wife's grandmother, okay? My wife's grandmother, who was in real estate in Florida near Orlando, she sold some of the property that became the Disney property, okay?
Interesting.
To Walt Disney.
I did not know that.
Yes. And let me tell you, how in the world was Disney able to amass hundreds?
Is that a real word?
Yes, it is. How were they able to acquire, okay, let me use that, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of acres that would have eventually become Disney?
Right.
Okay? It's because they bought each individual parcel in trust. Okay? If they just came in as the Disney Corporation and they said, okay, we're going to buy this, we're buying this, we're buying this, what would all of the other sellers around start doing with their property?
Jacking their prices.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But by buying them in a trust under different names, Walt Disney was able to acquire hundreds and hundreds of acres that would eventually become Disney in Florida, and nobody even knew it was Disney.
Until they were
knew it.
building, until they were done, yeah.
Until they had all of their land acquired.
Starting construction.
Yeah, and started
Gotcha.
and made announcements and started it. And
So she sold some of her land?
Not some of her land. She was a broker.
Oh, okay.
She was a broker,
Okay,
and
I
she dealt
gotcha.
with commercial property.
Okay.
And she sold land to. She's passed away now, but she actually sold properties that would become Best Buy, Toys R Us, Steak and Shake. All
Commercial
these,
broker.
Yeah, commercial property.
Okay, I gotcha.
She was a commercial broker, but by buying the property in trust, they were able to maintain anonymity. Nobody knew that it was Disney doing it. So, having said that, okay, with a trust, there's the trust agreement, there's the trustee. The trustee is somebody you know, like, and trust, okay, but they should have a different last name than you, okay? The trustee, a property, when it's bought in a trust, it's actually deeded to the trustee with the name trust at the end of it, okay? As trustee
Okay.
for, like for example, let's say if I bought a property in a trust and I made you my trustee, Kandas.
Right.
The property would be deeded to Kandas as trustee for 125 Oak Street Trust, okay? So, and the beneficiary is going to be my LLC.
Right.
My limited liability company, because a trust provides anonymity but not asset protection, okay? It doesn't provide any asset protection. If somebody was to slip and fall at the rental property, or, the deck was to fall and somebody was to get hurt, then they could sue the trust and break right through that and sue you personally. But by having the trust as the owner with the LLC, the beneficiary, it provides one, a layer of anonymity, and two, a layer of asset protection. So now that I've explained that, let's get back to the question. The question is,
can you sell a property in a trust by changing the beneficiary?
In other words, the question really is, can you change ownership of a property without actually selling the property? And the short answer is yes. A trust is personal property. Real estate is real property, okay? Real assets. A trust is a personal property. So let's say I bought a property. Let's say, for example, I was going to buy a property, and I'm going to explain this to kind of show you how it's used. If I was to buy a property off the MLS, and I was to put an offer in under the name of 125 Oak Street Trust, because that's the address of the property, okay? Mm-hmm. Let's say they accept my offer of $50,000. And then what I do is I'm going to wholesale that property for $60,000, okay? But let's say I don't have $50,000. Maybe I'm just getting started. I only have $500 to put up as a deposit. I would get the property under the name, under contract, in the name of 125 Oak Street Trust, and my LLC is going to be the beneficiary, right? Mm-hmm. So then I would advertise and market the property. I would find a buyer that's going to pay me $60,000. Once I find that buyer that's going to pay me $60,000, they're going to wire the $60,000 to the closing attorney for closing. I'm going to buy it in the name of the trust, and then I'm going to change the beneficiary from my name, my LLC, to my buyer's LLC. So now it's one closing, one set of closing costs. I've just sold a property and I made a $10,000 profit. I did not even have to put up any more than the deposit on the property. Does that make sense?
It does. And then it goes to, when you're transferring the ownership, it goes from LLC to LLC.
That's the way you prefer it.
Yeah.
That's the way I would recommend. But, let's say if the person's buying the property from me for $60,000 and maybe they're going to live in it.
Right.
They could really just
do it to their name.
I could change the beneficial interest from my LLC to their personal name. But by changing the beneficial interest, and that's done by the trustee. In our example, you, Kandas, being the trustee, you would change the beneficiary from my LLC over to that individual or their LLC. And it's one real estate closing, one set of real estate closing costs. It's basically, here's what I call using a trust like this. That's a way to assign a non-assignable contract. Does that make sense?
Yep.
It's a way to assign a non-assignable contract. Now, there's plenty other ways to use trust, okay? You can use trust whenever you are seller financing a property. For example, if I bought a property in 125 Oak Street Trust, okay, and then let's say I was going to seller finance the property, all right? I could seller finance the property, and if they quit paying, I could change the beneficial interest from them back to me. It's basically a way to foreclose on a property without having to foreclose on a property.
Yeah.
Basically. I just changed the beneficial interest from them back to me, okay? Because they're really buying the trust, okay? I'm financing the trust. They're buying the trust. But if they quit making their payments, I'm changing the beneficial interest back to me.
Now,
so that is a way.
When the trustee changes the beneficial interest like that, do all parties not have to sign?
No, just the trustee does it. The trustee does it.
Okay.
The trustee is the only person that can sign. And that's why you want somebody that you know, like, and trust, like
just
with me.
Not the same last
when
name.
we use trust, we've used trust before in the past, and you're my beneficiary.
I know.
Right?
Well, I'm the trustee.
The trustee, right.
Yeah.
Right. Trustee. And I don't want my wife to be the trustee because she's got the same last name as me.
Right.
Right? And it's easy to find that trustee. So if something comes up, you can always change the trustee to someone else, right?
Gotcha.
So was that good stuff?
I think it's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's
It was a
like
little
we said,
deep.
yeah, we had to go a little deep with that one and do some extra explaining with it because, the nature of the question is going to be more for somebody that's not a first deal type situation. I don't think I would get into trust and stuff like that on your first deal. You definitely want to use an LLC when you're buying, but instead of your personal name. But I don't know if I would go into trust until you have a couple under your belt and the whole process is a little bit more comfortable. But just like that, though, I mean, we can do 30,000 feet answers. We can go deep answers. It doesn't really matter. It's whatever you need. So if you guys will give Macy a call, 877-LARRY-GO. She can get you set up with the Investors Kit, get you scheduled for an office tour, come by and check us out, get set up for the next 3-day training event where we go through the same kind of stuff for 3 solid days. We'll be back. Welcome back to Bragg Radio. It's that time.
What's happening, everybody?
That generous time. I love this part of the show. This is always my favorite part of the show.
It is good. This part of the show is where we highlight successful students, and I got to tell you, I've been wanting to get this student on Bragg Radio for so long.
For a couple, it's been a couple weeks at least.
Oh, I'm telling you, I'm so excited to have Sarah on. Sarah, what's up? How are you?
Very good. Hi, Larry.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Now, just to let everybody know, you're not even anywhere around here. You're in California, correct?
That's correct.
That's awesome. Now, you live in do you live in Orange County or San Diego area or what?
I live in the Tri-Valley area.
Uh-huh. That's great.
Which is like an hour away from San Francisco.
Oh, an hour from San Francisco. I love San Francisco. I have relatives in Hayward.
Really?
I do. I have relatives in Hayward, and I love San Francisco. Yeah, I'll have to come visit. Absolutely, absolutely. So, guys, just to let you know, Sarah is one of our Inner Circle students, and she's been doing real estate for a little while, but she had never done any virtual deals. So, Sarah, can you start out and tell our listeners just a little bit about yourself and about your business, and then we'll talk about what we helped you do, doing deals virtually. But start out and tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
Oh, hi. I was in the mortgage business before, but that wasn't something I like to continue to do. And then I started doing some like buy and hold, some fix and flip. But because the market in California is very competitive, and I just want to diversify my strategy. I would like to do something virtually, and that's how I found Larry's program. And at the beginning, it was not believable to me. I didn't know I can do it virtually, but I just did it.
Wait a minute. You said you didn't believe it at first? What's up with that, Sarah?
I couldn't believe it. I never believed I could buy a house without seeing it. I never seen the house. I just hired some real estate agent local agent to go inside to take some pictures, and basically just email me the pictures. And and I just ordered an inspection report, and then once I was in contract, I followed Larry's strategies. I advertised immediately on Craigslist, so I never even seen the buyer, and it got sold in 2 weeks.
That's awesome. 2 weeks is great.
You sold it in 2 weeks. Now, you're in California, and where was the property?
The property is in like Newmarket, Alabama.
Newmarket, Alabama.
And then at that time, I'd never been to Alabama before.
You've never been to Alabama?
I mean, at that time, I went afterwards, after the property sold, but I was never there before.
So you didn't go to Alabama during the time that you had this property and you were buying it and selling it?
Yeah, I've never been to Alabama before.
But you have now, right?
After sold, because I went there to check out some more properties, but for for that one, the one in New Market, I bought it without seeing it, and even so, I never seen the property afterwards.
So
everything just virtual.
So, I know you were very skeptical because, you invested a lot of money to come to our office, to have us work with you one-on-one, to help you to be able to buy and sell virtually from California, and you're doing deals in Alabama. What was it like when you did that first deal?
Well, at the beginning, it was very hard to believe that I can make.
Wait a minute, you got the money, and it's still hard to believe? You have the money in the bank.
When I was making offers, I couldn't believe they could have set my offer at 38% of the list price.
So you got an offer accepted in Alabama at 38% of list price.
Yes, correct. It was original listed like around 105,000, and then by the time I got it, it was listed around 80,000.
Right.
And I make an offer at 36, and they accepted it.
Wow! It was originally listed around 100, then dropped to 80 something, and you got it for 38.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. Hey.
And I closed on the same day.
And you bought it and sold it the same day?
No, I bought it, and then I sold it to a buyer up to 2 weeks when the offer was accepted by the HUD, and I have them close on the same day.
So wait a minute. Just so everybody out there listening and is saying this stuff doesn't work, right? Just like you were very skeptical. You're in California. You found a house. You made offers in Alabama. You got it under contract for like a 30-day closing. And 2 weeks after you had it under contract, you found a buyer, and you had your buyer lined up to buy it from you the exact same day that you had to buy it. So you bought it and sold it on the same day, correct?
Yeah, and I sold it to a cash buyer.
That sounds like real estate day trading.
I know. It was so easy. I can't believe it. It's just so smooth, the transaction.
Really? That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, how did you find your buyer?
On Craigslist.
You found your buyer on Craigslist. How much did it cost you to run that ad?
Free.
Free?
She's like a textbook student.
She is.
She's a textbook student. She's so
I love
happy.
her. She is awesome. Now, and that was really just last month. You've already got some more deals under contract as well. Is that correct?
Yes. Actually, as a matter of fact, after that, I got 3 more accepted.
You got 3 more accepted after that.
Yeah.
Sarah, you're on fire.
I can't believe it.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I'm loving it. I'm just hoping you stay out of the Carolinas. That's my territory.
Yeah, my friend kept asking me about how I do it. I didn't want to tell him, but I just feel so sorry that, So I told him that it was from you, so a couple of them are going to your 3-day event.
Awesome. Thank
That's
you,
I
great.
want to keep it a secret.
That is great. That's great. Well, we really appreciate that. That's just amazing. Now tell us about what percentage of list price are you getting the other 3 at that you just
the other 3, they're all between 45 to 58.
45 to 58% of list price.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the first one was in a really bad shape. That's why I was able to get it 38. But the 3 afterwards, they are in a better shape.
Wow, that's great. That's great. And you're going to day trade those as well, correct?
Yes, I'm going to day trade those because I got it such a good price.
That's good. That's good. Now, are you doing this all by yourself, or do you have a team?
I don't have a team yet. It's all by myself.
So one person in the last month, you've bought and sold 1, and you have 3 more under contract. Sarah, that's huge.
I'm surprised.
You still can't believe it, right?
I can't believe it. It's in Alabama.
Sarah, if you could say one thing to a person out there listening to you right now that wants to do real estate, they want to get out of their job, and they're really skeptical, what would you tell that person?
I would tell them to follow your strategy. I was blown away when I saw your program.
Wow, that's awesome. That's really good. Sarah, thank you so much for being on. We really appreciate it. You're just awesome. You're so excited. You're always really happy and upbeat and everything every time I talk to you and see you. And, I know you're a member of our Inner Circle Facebook group as well, and you're always putting stuff out there, messaging us. So it's really, really good. I really, really appreciate you. And thanks so much for being on today and being an inspiration for others out there.
For more information about what Larry and Kandas discussed on today's Brag Radio, leading the world to be rich and generous, go to bragradio.com. You can also call 877-LARRY-GO for a free investor's kit, or to schedule a tour of the office or get more information on upcoming events. That's 877-527-7946. Tune in again next Saturday as best-selling real estate investing author Larry Goins and co-host Kandas teach you the latest strategies and techniques the pros use to make money in real estate. It's Brag Radio, leading the world to be rich and generous on News 1110 99.3 WBT.